Professor Anthony Ellerson. I'm the director of the Games, Interactive Media, and Mobile program. Here in GIMM, I teach the first year experience classes, the intro to interactive programming, interactive storytelling, and then in the junior year, I basically teach our streaming media augmented reality courses.
My name is Amod Damle, and I teach GIMM 100, GIMM 200, and then 330 and 370.
I teach GIMM 100, GIMM 200, so those are the freshman year classes, which are animation, visual design, and user experience. And then I also teach GIMM 375 sometimes, which is a special effects class for juniors. And then GIMM 480 and GIMM 490, which are the capstone courses.
My name is Dr. Jack Klifka. You can just call me Jack though. I teach GIMM 260, 285, 340, 300, I did that out of order, and 440. So those cover web development, front end, back end, Internet of Things, and preparing people for the job market. So resumes, cover letters, that sort of thing. So for 260, we cover front end and back end development, starting with the HTML, CSS, JavaScript. We make our way to Node.js and MySQL. We kind of give you a rough overview of how it all is done. And then 285, we focus more on the back end, where we do much more MySQL and Node.js. And we actually start doing some design patterns like Model View Controller. In 300, we worry about developing an online portfolio, resume, cover letter for applying to internships. We also could do WordPress as an alternative for web portfolio. 345 will be Internet of Things, so Amazon Web Services, Alexa apps. And then 440 is, again, resumes, cover letters, interviews, and helping you look for a job.
So in GIMM 100, they learn how to do 2D animation, graphic design, basic principles of visual design. So GIMM 100 is much broader than some of the other courses I teach, but mainly it's focused on graphic design and animation.
In GIMM 100, we focus on 2D animation, learning how to use the Adobe programs, so Photoshop, Illustrator, sometimes After Effects and Premiere. GIMM 200, we focus on more advanced animation, also start to get into 3D modeling, and we start to introduce user experience. GIMM 375, we focus on special effects for games. So that could be anything from VFX graph to shader graph. Also some of that crosses over into special effects for animation. And then finally, GIMM 480 and GIMM 490, they're Capstone 1 and Capstone 2. So basically, those are your senior capstone classes where you learn how to do project management, you work with clients, you finalize your portfolio and get ready for showcase.
So when you're coming to GIMM in the first year, you're kind of getting a microcosm of what you're going to cover actually for the full 4 years here. And GIMM is really a program that is what we call transdisciplinary. And what that means is we're combining 3 areas of knowledge: object-oriented programming, visual design, and especially 3D and 2D animation, and then usability. And we put all of those together and we start right away. So in your first year in our classes, you learn how to become really proficient at 2D animation. And we also start to get you into doing 2D games using right now the Unity platform. And that's kind of the what starts kind of during the first year, you getting comfortable with being a good animator, being a good developer. Well, I should say it's what you really learn how to do during the first year is how to fail and how to ask questions, right? Because everybody fails. I mean, that's one of the things we talk a lot about in GIMM is that, why do you play games, for example? I mean, ultimately we all play games to win. But the reality is we play games for the experience of losing, right? That's the strategies that we then have to learn how to succeed at a game. It's no different in life and it's no different in our curriculum. One of the things we're really, really focusing on during that first year, especially your first semester, is it's okay to hit dead ends. It's okay to run at things and then realize later like that wasn't exactly the solution I was after. What's not okay is not to try. right? And so this is part of our life as a developer, not only here in school, but later. We're always coming up against new and creative problems, things that we've never encountered before. And as professionals, we have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, with having to explore and understand things. And a lot of times those explorations don't always lead the way that we think they are. But ultimately, they lead us to the solutions that our clients need. And that really is what that whole first year is about. First semester is, hey, be comfortable with the fact that you don't really know everything, and just be willing to ask questions of people to help get the answers that you do need. And then during the second semester of the first year, how do you work with people? How do you start to think about how do you bring like theoretical knowledge about how to convince people about things with interactivity and with projects, and then that whole kind of creative process, how that sort of works. And then, after that first year, essentially the next 3 years in GIMM are building upon those foundations. So that by the time you leave here, you're the veteran of dozens of projects. You've seen everything in terms of how things work. And that is ultimately what makes you valuable to industry. Because obviously what they want is people who are comfortable with the workflow and being able to be on a team and work with clients and understand how to create solutions. So during that first semester with me in GIMM 110, you're going to learn how to create 2D games, a number of different games. So there's puzzle games, platformers, so on and so forth. And then you're also going to learn how to work with groups in the creation of we almost always do a stretch exercise, which usually during the first semester has to do with augmented reality. So we give you kind of a little bit of a taste of what your sophomore and junior and senior years will be like even in that first semester.
In GIMM 100, each student is responsible for creating their own 2D animation. So that's something they work on all semester. Sometimes it's frame by frame. A lot of times students also mix in motion tweening. When they usually build this in Animate or some similar type of program. In GIMM 200, we also do another animation. However, in that class, we focus a bit more on hybrid options. Students can add three-dimensional animations and 3D models if they'd like. We also do a user experience project in GIMM 200, where students have to learn how to prototype an application and then test that application. In GIMM 375, students work on a motion capture project where they use mocap suits and record their movements and create a game with a group. They also learn how to use special effects, so they add special effects to their current game project. And then finally, GIMM 480 and 490 are connected. So students will start a project in the fall working with a local client. They usually apply for a specific position within that class. So for example, students might apply to be a computer programmer or a 3D modeler or a team lead. And then they're in charge of that project all year long with that specific client. Other projects GIMM 480 does and GIMM 490 include a special topics project where students get to deep dive into their work and figure out something they really want to add to their portfolio that they haven't added yet. So they focus on that topic, present it to the class, and complete a project associated with it. And finally, GIMM 490, you do your senior showcase. So that's the year and the time where you can showcase all the stuff you've done in GIMM throughout your GIMM career.
So in GIMM 100, my students do 2D animation. Specifically, they take a logo and then animate it. So short logo animation. They also come up with their own logos. So that's static logo and animated logo. And then they create game design backgrounds. They learn how to create game design backgrounds or game backgrounds. I would say, keep an open mind, try different things. Even if you like coding, even if you're good at coding, it doesn't hurt to pick up some graphic design skills. If you're good at graphic design or animation, the same goes for you. It doesn't hurt to pick up some coding skills. So try to be as broad as possible. And then as you go through our program, then you can focus on what you like and you can develop your skills further.
So for my classes, first, anybody can program. It's not an exclusive club. There is no programming gene. Everybody can learn to do it. We assume that you coming in here, you may not have had prior experience in such things, and we are here to help you with those things. Overall, again, I would say have an open mind, because a lot of the things you learn in GIMM are kind of on a spectrum of design, graphics to programming, and stuff in between. So being open to new experiences and what you're able to do with technology and the stuff that is yet to come is valuable.
I would say, so a lot of our projects are fairly open-ended. So when you get a chance to work on a project and you have a lot of options to choose from, pick something that you really very much enjoy, because if you are excited about the project, the amount of time you put into it just makes more sense. So time management is a huge key to success in GIMM. So find things that make you excited, work on those things, and you're gonna have a much easier and much more enjoyable time in this program.
The best advice I have to GIMM students coming into the program is, number one, don't be too self-critical. Everybody, again, doesn't always do everyone experiences failure. Everyone experiences dead ends. Just be willing to be willing to understand and learn from your mistakes. Be willing to come into the lab and ask questions. In fact, coming to the lab is probably one of the biggest indicators of how successful a student is going to be in the GIMM program. We have tons of peer mentors in the lab, the faculty in the lab. Everybody is there to help and answer your questions, and we expect you to have questions. In fact, that's completely natural that you're going to come in and something's not working. And the lab is where you come to get help with that and make sure that your project's doing well.